I got arrested in Warminster, Pennsylvania, because I was in traffic in the middle of the day. And I was in the middle lane, and there was an accident. And I had to get to an appointment, and I was so worried about getting to that appointment that I got out of the car. And the problem was the cops were directing traffic. And I was in a suit, and I'm walking by. I said, my car is there. I can't stay in my car. I got to go to my appointment. He says, I'm sorry, you can't do that. The beast just kept going around and around and around in my head, and it told me to get out. Just get out of the car. And I got out of the car, and I kept going. And he said, you got to go back to your car. And I said, I can't go back to my car. And he called one of his buddies over. They took me to the side, and I said things I shouldn't have said, and they handcuffed me. So guess what? The beast is here with me. And if you don't mind, I'm going to talk to that beast for a second. Since early childhood, you have driven me crazy. From Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts to sleepovers. You have made me think I've had diseases. You have made me think my throat was closing. You have made me think that I was going crazy since I was a young kid. That's right, I'm talking to you. And then into my teenage years, you fought even harder. You fought on my ski trips. You fought when I went to baseball games. You fought, more importantly, you fought when I was alone with my thoughts, with you. You drove me insane constantly. When I was on dates, when I traveled, everywhere I went, this thing was with me. But what you don't understand is I just showed them vulnerability. I just told you that I'm afraid to speak in public. So I just lessened the beast. I just told him my fear. So what are you going to do about that? I was suffering with this mental illness for many years, decades actually. So because of that, this COVID virus, I choose to look at it differently because I've been asked, this is very real. Well, let me tell you something. The imaginary thoughts that you can have in your head far exceed anything that's real. So the way I'm handling this is using my toolbox, drop your armor, act as if, and I'll get into the tools in a few minutes. But that's how I choose to handle it. Am I nervous? Am I scared? Of course I am. Everybody is. What is my toolbox? Well, my toolbox is very simple. These are simple tools that I use to this day to help me manage my anxiety. Drop your armor is the first and foremost part of dealing with this anxiety, dealing with the panic and agoraphobia. When I realized what I had, I realized it was anxiety, and it was only anxiety. It wasn't a death sentence. So I looked at it as that way, and I started to drop my armor. I started to stop fighting it. And the hardest part of this whole process is letting it come. You need to let it come. It's almost like detoxing, emotionally detoxing. So what you're doing is you're letting the beast come in, you're letting the bully come in, and you're feeling the symptoms, but you're not letting it affect you. And once you can get to a point where you're almost laughing at it, now what you do is you go to the second one called act as if. Act as if is essentially be the person you want to be and rid yourself of that anxiety. Even if you're nervous, if you get down to being nervous in situations, that's normal. Anxiety and panic attacks, that's irrational fear out of control. Why be nervous? You should be excited. And you don't get up in the morning and you don't say, oh no, I gotta. Change it to, you know what? I get to. Or I'm so happy I can. It just changes your mindset to a positive place rather than a negative place. The best coach, the best person you can rely on is in the mirror. And that's the person that you have to rely on the most. And once you can rely on all the things, drop your armor, act as if, now you say, nobody's coming. If you start to feel those anxious moments, nobody's coming, I can deal with this myself. Now you know you made it. Those are the main tools, and I still use them to this day. And believe me, from a person that was petrified to leave his house to talking to you and thousands of others, it works. The only thing that's on TV right now, other than movies, of course, is negative. There's nothing good that's happening. And it seeps into your subconscious, even though you say, yeah, it doesn't bother me, it does. You're going to tell me watching a comedy or watching a stand-up comedian isn't going to make you happier than sitting there staring at CNN or CNBC or whatever it is? It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen for me. I know it's not going to happen for you. Another thing that keeps my anxiety at bay is exercise. During this COVID-19, it is extremely important to move around. Even a small amount of anxiety can create what's called a fight or flight response. It's essentially adrenaline and cortisol, which is released into your bloodstream. And by doing push-ups and taking a brisk walk, it will help you rid yourself of this reaction, which, by the way, is perfectly normal during these heightened times of real fear. That's how I choose to handle this COVID-19.